OK, it's a time to talk all things Super League. We've been joined in the studio by Tony Ray. Tony, great to see you as always. Thank you for joining us. Let's start off then with Bradford. Obviously, their fate sealed. They're staring at their first season outside the top flight since 1973-74 with that defeat at Huddersfield that condemned them to the Championship next season. What have you made of their campaign and of their performance?
Well, it's been of their own doing. You know, they've had their own problems for the last couple of years, so they've been a wonderful club in the Super League era, and even before the Super League era, they've played particularly well. They've been a real star part of the Super League. So it is disappointing, and they are a terrific club and a wonderful club when they're getting going. But at the end of the day, their performances on the field's what counts. And this year, they just haven't played well enough as a group, and they've probably had enough quality in the squad to do better than they've done. But the fact that they've had so much turmoil off the fields meant it's been difficult for them.
Mixing it for a while against Huddersfield, but in the end, this game just ran away from them, didn't it? Yeah,
led at half-time, led early. They were on the front foot. The Huddersfield players were retreating there. Luke Gale gets the ball and feeds George out wide, and he scores a wonderful try. And they were on top. They were dominating. They were playing go-forward football. Again, Gale, instrumental, throws a dummy, breaks through, lovely little offload to O'Brien, who scores. But it came back to Huddersfield being on top, and they had Danny Brough back in the team, so he gave him great composure. He puts the ball up high, and that gives their chasers some great momentum. Kojo goes down. It's a good contest from Bradford. They're inside of it. This guy, McGilvray, scored a hat-trick. He took advantage of that one. So just a bit more methodical and a bit more rhythmic as Brough again with the ball. Just gave them that little bit of class and tempo, and just ran the defensive Bradford ragged enough and created enough space for when you see McGilvray scoring tries like that in the corner. You just know that their forwards have dominated and the halves have really done well.
Now, obviously, the backdrop to this story is the fact that Bradford have been docked those 6 points for going into administration via the High Court. They're still in the process of appealing that. But if you look at the looks of the players' faces at full time, they've pretty much given up the ghost on that score, haven't they? They're resigned to their fate.
Yeah, they're relegated. They know that. In some ways, that's cleansing for them. They know their destiny. They know what they've got to do. The 6 points won't matter. There's another thing that matters here is form. They're not playing well enough. You know, they're going OK inside the games and they're competing well. But at the end of the day, these people know it and they're resigned to it. They're lifting the club there. They're saying, look, we're OK, we're down. We know it. You can do all the appeals in the court you like. Even that won't give them enough points to get even anywhere near surviving. So the 6 points are irrelevant. So probably a bit, you know, as a club, we're going to fight and we're going to show that we've got some fight and we've got some backbone to us. And that's probably what the leaders are doing. You wouldn't be surprised if they withdraw the protest late and save a bit of money. Because at the end of the day, they're out and they've got some great spirit there. They're just going to have to dust off and make the most of life down below.
Well, we know from the early 2000s about Bradford's sort of former glories, the Bulls winning all those Super Leagues 2001, 2003, 2005, and also World Club Challenge and Challenge Cup as well. But they are going down. What chance of an immediate return for Bradford, do you think?
Of all the clubs going down, and in that league below, they'd be the ones who'd be highly ranked to do it, providing they can keep themselves together, keep a bunch of players together, they'll be OK. It's difficult. This new concept next year, and we're going to hear a lot about it in Boots and All over the next couple of weeks. We have a 3-tiered system. They've got a 7-game qualification series to come back up. That's hard. Now, that's going to be hard. It's going to be new water. They're capable of it, though. So they've just got to start the work now to get that job done this time next year.
All right, Tony, let's take you back to Thursday night now, the sending off of Leeds captain Kevin Sinfield against Castleford. You were commentating on this one. Could you believe what you were watching from such a stalwart and a veteran of the game?
It was a genuine shock. It was it was one of those moments where I think everyone was looked at each other in the commentary box, and it was a very verbal exchange here, and it was obviously heated, and it's clearly had to be sent off. It was clearly a headbutt. I think he was going to just put forwards together and have a chat to Luke Dawn. It was a really verbal exchange, and Dawn sort of dunked his head a bit there. And I think, personally, I thought Sinfield was just coming in to put forwards together and keep the verbal abuse.
Luke Dawn has kind of, poo-pooed it and said it's no big.
Yeah, I think
no
everybody in the game knows it wasn't really a big incident. As Dawn said, they were verbal and we sort of looked at each other and we backed out of it. But it becomes interesting what happens to him.
What do you think? Exemplary career, what sort of punishment
Well,
can
to
he
me,
expect?
I think it's a send-off sufficient. I think it wasn't a totally vicious malice one. It was a verbal thing and they're going to have a bit of a chat. I think, but if you're custodians of the game, you want to send a message and say that's not acceptable. So they're in a bit of a tight space. Personally, I think that's enough. Send off, cost them a draw, cost them a win to a draw, I guess, at the end of the day, and I think his standing should be respected.
Yeah, perhaps his teammates will be the least happy with him. 6 points ahead when Sinfield saw red, ended up a 24 points all draw. They lost their discipline in the final minutes. Castleford fighting back. Do you think it was a fair result, reflecting on everything that happened? A busy night?
Absolutely, definitely the fair result. And it's particularly what happened then. I thought Leeds were in control and they just started to look a little bit frustrated, probably why Kevin was feeling that. And then after that, you know, the chasers, the Castleford chaser gets definitely blocked there by Maguire. The bloke going up for the ball just gets knocked off the ball. Now, you should be just thinking there, Leeds should just be thinking they're about catch the ball and then get out of there rather than blocking a bloke, and you're going to give away a penalty. The penalty means we've got to defend your line for another set of 6, and then you give away another penalty because you're tired, you're clearly lying on the ball, pull the ball out. So they lost their way then, and that was because they were frustrated, they were tired. Then Millington ran off a beautiful Jewett pass late on, and that earned Cass the draw. So absolutely fair result. Leeds were losing their frustration. They've been amazingly composed all game, and as you can see, their composure went out a bit.
Despite being a man down, they had a chance to win it, didn't they, Leeds? The drop goal routine didn't quite go to plan.
It was almost comical in the end, and Jamie Peacock ends up with the ball in his hand, the front rower, and throws one over, and it was a position right in front of the goal, 28 you should go for. From behind, if you look at the blue number 10, this is Jamie here smiling. He has his hands on his hips. If you see him there, he's at the back there. He just gets a shot. The ball gets thrown to him. And he hooks it wide. And the guy beside him, Danny Maguire, was after that ball, and he was the field goal expert. And they probably win the game if that one goes over. But it was a tense, tight one, a terrific game, wonderful game, and the right result.
Back to the drawing board there.
OK, let's just have a look at some of the other games. St Helens remained top after their win over London. A pretty professional performance from the Saints, wasn't it?
It sounded like that, and everything that Nathan Brown said after the game was they just had to be clinical, make sure they were physical, go about. And you could see how physical they were. Big Walmsley's just waltzed through the middle of a really dominant physical game. The Broncos are chasing back and spirited, but there's enough St Helens shirts showing up. As we see Turner score one there in the corner. The Broncos are always competing, going hard. The guy who makes the charge down there, Alex Foster, does that every week, competing hard. And the young London guy, James Woodburn Hall, he's had a bit of personal tragedy. His father dying in recent weeks. He's got a wonderful moment for himself there. And you can see the spirit still in the place. A bit like we were talking about Bradford.
Just reducing a deficit, and this is how the fans celebrate not being quite so far behind, basically.
Yeah, they're just saying we're going to be behind you, boys. They're just yelling out to you, say stick with it. We know it's tough. Like this is how, like they've let a try in, so they're down here. This is an outrageously soft try. Walmsley again. This guy scores from here. Goes through all of them, the length of the field. Sia Soriola, just dummies. And like this can't be fatigue because you've had 2 minutes rest. You just let a try in. It's just confidence. You know, it's just everything's milking out of you at this point. You're starting to lack belief and confidence and trust in each other, and it happens when you lose. And then, you know, little things become big and it runs away from you. They just need to freshen up, get away, get in front. I keep saying, get in front a couple of times on the scoreboard early, and they'll give themselves a chance.
Just briefly on London. Obviously, no points at all so far this season. So, is there a situation here where they will go pointless throughout the entire campaign? Is the belief seeping out so much now?
There's a strong possibility of that more and more. But other teams, the worry for me is other teams are getting better. And I thought London are becoming better now, playing better, because the well-documented troubles in the off-season meant they were in no position to compete as the year went through. So you needed to use the first half of the year to get ready to compete second half of the year. They don't seem to have kept themselves together strong enough and be getting better and better. And other teams are getting better. So, but having said that, you feel, as I said, when you're down this low, if you can just grab a high moment inside of a game, you know, a bit of a charge down as we saw there, a couple of tries, they might get their moment. They've got to earn it though. No one will give it to them. They're going to have to go out and earn that.
Talking about teams finding form and pushing towards the playoffs and the postseason, Wigan beat Hull on Friday in emphatic fashion. No Matty Bowen for the Warriors, but his replacement at fullback had an impressive start, it's fair to say. Yeah,
we'll have a little look at Lewis Teeney's try. And it was a wonderful try, and it was summed up sort of what Wigan were about because of the confidence it goes about. Kicks down deep. Teeney's a young guy, hasn't had many chances this year, but being in that Wigan side and the confidence gives you, he scores from here. Just a bit of footwork, pushes off Jack Logan, who came in as a young Hull guy who came into the team late in the game, so he probably wasn't late in preparation, wasn't overly prepared, but a wonderful try there from Tierney. It just shows you the young guys step up and just shows you the inner confidence that everybody in that Wigan club has against a good team, Hull. You know, they've beaten them by 50, but Hull aren't, you know, they're no bunch of donkeys. You've got to work hard to beat them.
Let's just talk about Widnes Warrington. So Widnes, 1 win in their previous 8, Warrington 10 wins on the bounce. didn't see this one coming, I don't think.
I bet your Widnes did, because the week before, although everyone was talking about they got beaten, Dennis Betts said, I'm after some performance things inside of this game, not results. He knows that, yes, we're doing it tough, we're not doing well, but he was after something and he knew what it was. And they get a bounce of the ball there, but they're going forward. They're not sitting back having lost, they're going forward looking at opportunities. Ryan Atkins scores a try when the defender Marsh slips over in front of him. So Warrington always felt like they were a chance. When you were watching, you felt like they might come back into it. They are that good, they kept trying. But it was the dominance of Widnes. They just kept defending with great energy, competing with great numbers, just getting into their kicks and chasing, as we see there, the late try from Owens. They just had a way about them, Widnes, where whilst they lost last week, it wasn't a failure for them because they learned some wonderful lessons and took them onto the field. And I think they might be back in form. It'd be interesting to see how they go. They might work their way out of this and be genuine contenders when they get into the playoffs later in the year, because the form there says they will.
Talking of form, Catalan made the headlines for the wrong reasons last weekend. Back to doing what they did best against Wakefield yesterday in a first defeat for James Webster. It's so hard though, Perpignan.
Yeah, difficult to go down there, and particularly a response that we were always going to probably get from Catalan. And they, a bit like I was just saying about Widnes, they've learned. They went to some wonderful rhythms. They love those Croxfield kicks. It's a terrific try by Millard. Every week we see a try from this guy. Ascari picks this ball up. Now he goes to length and scores. Look at him hit the accelerator. He's just too quick. He's so exciting. He's one try away from Monaghan at the top of the try-scoring board, and he's just a wonderful talent. They found some rhythm. They are a good team. They play very well down there. They play very well generally. Whitehead scores just a bulldozing try there. He's the leading try-scoring forward in the competition. They're a balanced side, a wonderful side, and as you're right, they play particularly well down in the south of France.
OK, very briefly, Salford against Hull KR. 3 wins in a row for Salford, but they left it too late to push for the playoffs, do you think?
I think they have. I think the other teams have got enough points in front of them to get in. But, Salford are playing well at the right end. Lovely ball here from Rangi Chase. Hits Mason Caton Brown wide. Scored a lovely try. They also hit it back with a lovely try, Hull KR. The playmaker's Keating goes to Burns and then out the back to Hall. That's a lovely team's try. But so they were up at half-time, but then the pressure of Salford exerted. Look at this error-ridden performance now from Hull KR second half. He drops this ball, Craig Hall, and they pick it up and just score a simple try. Give away points. Junior South scores a try from there. So Hull KR buckled a bit under pressure. Kick goes down in behind. You can see the red shirts retreating, so Salford have got him on the back foot and Murray Curry just drops it. Giveaway points. Too many giveaway points in the second. Lovely try, this one. Inside ball from this man here, Chase. Watch this tricky inside ball. Lovely little play. Beautiful piece of work, and sets Josh Griffin away to score under the post. They scored some wonderful tries, but at the end of the day, their pressure, their work ethic, another error here from Craig Hall. Gets the ball stolen from him, rips away, and they score a try from that. So that's 3 tries in the second half, having led at half-time, that they gave away inside of the game. They cracked under pressure, Hull KR, the pressure that Salford put on. They're playing well, Salford.
OK, apart from the bottom, still plenty to play for. Thanks so much for joining us, Tony. Good to hear from you as always.